So I'm making this video for a friend. She posted a few. She asked me a few questions, and it related to an experience that she's having now. I won't go into to protect her privacy, but it's basically the loss of something very meaningful. And I had a similar experience a few years back that is still playing its role in my life. And I started to make a video for her on Facebook, but it was going to be a longer one, and it just got me thinking. So I thought I felt like I wanted to share more, so I thought I'd just make the video live to give me more space to explore the thoughts that were happening in the moment of that conversation. If any of you are Infjs or the thinkers, I guess, that attach to emotion, it's often in the process of speaking that we get a clearer understanding of what's happening on the inside, and that conversation sparked that up. So I thought I would take advantage of that. And obviously this is my my digital, because as some of the other videos explain, INFJs don't often create the space to share authentically because we're not comfortable being vulnerable with, like most humans, but we're not comfortable being vulnerable with our thoughts. We like to sort of have them very clear before we share them. That's not really good for us because we hold a lot of things in, because our thoughts are never finished or polished. Really, they're always developing. So I'm challenging myself to make these videos as an expression, as an outlet, as a way to express, and then be able to come back through history and just watch the way my progress has happened. So there's a few of you that have watched a few of the videos and have shared ideas and thoughts as well. So it's really nice as well that other people get to participate in this thought process. And the anonymity of it, YouTube is so big and so global that there's not a good chance that anybody you know is going to see it. So there's a good distance between me and whoever is on the other side of this, if anybody, and that seems to provide me a safe space to talk about what I feel like are very unpolished thoughts. So now and a part of being an INFJ is that we always explain ourselves, like the rationale behind every action or thought. Anyway, I'm going to get into it now. I'm going to pretend like I'm speaking to Sophie because it's going to be easier. That's her name. And Sophie, you asked about, what happens on the other side of grief, and you had noticed a few of my posts, and that I'm getting back into work, I'm getting into my flow. I seem to be getting my life together. And of course on Facebook it looks like that, because that's what Facebook is for. Shouting out your successes. And I know that you know that I've worked really hard to be as transparent as I could be during my process of suffering, and I made that public, and I was vulnerable with that. I was forced to make it public, and I think it was good for me because it helped me understand that it's important to show dark moments. So I really want to celebrate you, Sophie, because I know you did the same thing, and thank you for letting the world reach back out to you through that avenue. And I think Facebook is good for that, to feel the strength of a community and the support and the love that they have for us, because often we feel like maybe there isn't much of a connection, and then something horrible happens and you realize, oh my God, we're all connected and everybody's impacted in some way. So I'm really glad you allowed that. And onto the question you shared there, which was, then it feels like a bit of a burden to try and get back to everybody. And I'm still trying to get back to people. I still haven't responded to some really beautiful messages. And I feel like it's going to be a process. But don't feel any pressure to write back. and I think people understand as well. So that's that. But in terms of grief and loss and how it impacts us, I think it impacts idealists maybe in a different way. I'm not saying in a worse way or in a better way, but because we're idealists, at least for me, I'm going to speak from my personal perspective, having the cognitive functions of a 9, it wasn't just about feeling the loss of something and somebody important. It was observing how this loss impacted my community, how it impacted my physiology, how it impacted the dynamic of my family, how it impacted my psychology, the way that I perceive life. And that's what I was starting to share in the video. That loss like this kind of forces the idealist or the thinker in this way to ponder how freaking vulnerable we are. And so it's not just missing these people or these, or a certain previous reality, right? Because you had an idea of the way reality should be, and then all of a sudden death comes along and it shifts. It just shifts your perception of what reality should be. And all of a sudden you're birthed into a brand new world, into a world where someone that you care about no longer exists, or someone that you love is not going to be around, and you're forced all of a sudden to restructure your reality. And so it's painful in so many ways. It's shocking to the system, and I think we really need to be so aware of this impact, because the worst thing comes is when you're judging yourself for bursting into tears like I am now. In any place, sometimes a smell or a color or a word or a dress on a window, at the shopping mall, triggers a memory, and you feel the distance between the reality that you were expecting or you were used to or were developing, like you were, because you guys were creating a new reality. And then all of a sudden you're just reminded, oh my God, I'm living in another world. I'm living in another realm. In a realm where these little people are no longer around or are not going to be around. And I think because you already had created the whole image in your mind, so if you what the future was going to look like. So I'm going to be honest with you, the pain doesn't go away. It doesn't. Now I'm feeling it. And this leads me to my next point, that my thoughts are everywhere. I'm just going to go with it. That's what the video is for. Is that it's not like you get better or you get happier or you become. It's not about that. You definitely become stronger, but not stronger in a physiological sense, even in a psychological sense. I'm more vulnerable than ever before. But I mean stronger. You become sharper. Your awareness is expanded because you've understood something very serious, or at least you will begin to understand something very serious. And this is what I want to share with you specifically today. Besides the fact that your whole paradigm has shifted. So be gracious with yourself and don't judge yourself when you feel the full blow, because you're reminded that you are living in a brand new reality. That's freaking shocking. The second one is, and this is where I'm at now, is that it's not like you get happier or you get all, flying, I don't know, whatever we see in the movies, that, the good story, the end of the story line. It's not. You just understand that there is a big price to pay to live on earth. to live in this realm. And it's death. And it's the death of the people you love, and the death of even your own reality one day. And it feels like a price, because death has been spoken about in a really dark way on earth. And I'm working hard to restructure the way I perceive death, and I think me and you share that idea, that we don't die, that only our bodies die. And I think it's a wonderful idea to hold. So that gives us the notion that they're just living in another reality now without us. But at least they're sharing space with some of the people we care about most. That gives me so much comfort. So I sit in this idea a lot. I don't feel like my loved one gone at all. I miss her because she's not in my reality in the way that she used to be, like you will. But I trust fully, and it feels nice to hold this thought, this idea, that she is in another dimension. I guess, being a bit of a sci-fi geek myself, I completely gel with the idea that there are multiple dimensions, multiple realms existing, coexisting alongside each other, just never meeting. And that is the type of wormhole that we get to share a space with them in the future. So that's nice, and I hold that. But back to us that stay in this realm, and we are confronted by the impact of death, and it feels terrifying. What I think I'm working on at the moment, Sophie, is understanding the dual nature of this existence. And that tears exist as well as laughs, that deep joy and fulfillment exists as well as deep emptiness and unfulfillment. And I'm getting my head around that at the moment, Sophie. But it's a very cognitive process, because it's a constant reminding myself that there isn't this ultimate high or this ultimate low, that they're coexisting. Like even these two realities, the good and the bad, the dark and the bright, the soft and the hard, pain and pleasure. Like even these two realities in essence are coexisting at the same time as well. And I'm sharing these two realities, and I have a deep understanding, especially with so much of the philosophical literature that the ancients gave to us, that this existence is possible because of the dual relationship between these two forces, life and death, good and bad, soft and hard, pain and pleasure, happiness and sadness. So becoming aware of this just gives you a wider picture of what's happening. Something I've noticed as well is, because of this, because I'm not always looking for the highs anymore, I'm not looking for the ultimate of the everything and the success and the happiness, and like I think so many of us have been trained to do. The cool thing about not being obsessed with that anymore is that I get to enjoy the smallest things. and this I can tell you, and I know you're going to have to start to do that. You're going to have to be conscious of it. And how do you enjoy the smallest of things? You do it by placing the whole of your existence and your awareness into that one thing in that one moment. Whether you're cooking, whether you're sleeping, whether you're having a cup of tea, like this one. Like I have this tea now. And to feel the flavor of my tongue, its texture, its warmth, feeling the cup, the warmth here underneath. And the wonderful thing about attention and knowing how to control your attention and where your attention goes, obviously I use mindfulness for that. Mindfulness meditation. Anyone that's listening, if you're an INFJ, you need to freaking meditate. You will lose your mind if you don't. But it's I think if it wasn't for mindfulness, for mindfulness meditation every day, I wouldn't have been able to get out of that space. So my pleasures now are the simple things. And you've got lots, and there's so many things to enjoy on earth. Blowing your nose. Having a really nice sleep. The challenge for me because my process was so long, I'm still in the process, it was having to enjoy suffering in a weird way. Not enjoyment, like, hey, yay, this is nice. These are my tears, this is my pain, this is my loss, this is my emptiness. And I'm fully aware of it, and it's beautiful. And I don't think we really get to enjoy the truly simple things in this realm until we have truly learned to enjoy and own and hold and nourish our own tears, our own emptiness, our own anger, our own frustration, and know that it too is sacred. And I think this was the most beautiful lesson that losing her taught me. And it just shits me that I had to lose something so meaningful to give my suffering a place in my heart and in my life and in my world. So the funny thing is that you will learn to honor and respect your own suffering and your own grieving process, but it's going to make others uncomfortable. Because you can cry like this in front of someone that's terrified of suffering, and I think there's something wrong, and then you think, oh my God, is there something wrong because I'm crying? Is there something wrong because I don't want to get out of bed this morning? Is there something wrong because I don't want to talk to anybody? And I had to do this on my own because there was no one else to tell me. And I had to tell myself, it's okay not to get out of bed, because you're going to get out of bed one day. This isn't permanent. It's okay to have deep cry that makes you feel like the world is ending, because it's not. At least not today. It's okay to be angry at the moment, because it's not going to last. You're going to be happy in another moment, as you've already began to notice. I saw that big smile on the Facebook photo where you guys were making cocoa. In that moment, it's small, but that's all it is. It's a small moment, and suffering holds the same space, and the rest is usually a lot of neutral, on automatic. We're usually on automatic. So, Sophie, I'm not going to give you an illusion of what's going to happen after this. Your eyes are just going to get wider. You're going to begin to enjoy the small things, but you must first honor the sacred nature of your tears and your suffering and your loss. It's funny because throughout these last 3 years, I think the shocking nature has decreased, because I now understand I'm creating a new reality, and I am literally creating a brand new reality from the bottom up, because I lost I didn't just lose her, I lost a few other things as well in those years. So this is assurance, like I know. So when I feel like, oh my God, what the fuck's going on? I'm like, oh, hold on, I'm creating a new reality. It's brand new principles, brand new laws, brand new foundations here for me. Because I had to restructure so many things. I had to come back to Australia and go, oh my God, I've got to reconstruct everything. So when I'm losing it, I'm like, yeah, I'm losing it because I'm creating a brand new reality. And because I'm a brand new person as well, so I'm having to work to accommodate my reality, to ensure that it accommodates who I am. Not that I'm a new person, sorry. It's that the person that I used to be was probably not as authentic and as transparent, I think. So yeah, I'm trying to accommodate a reality where I can be more authentic and more transparent. So you just reassure yourself in that way that this is what's happening and this is why I'm vulnerable. the shocking nature of, oh my God, we're bloody vulnerable. Like truly, we're confronted with the vulnerable nature of being a human in this realm. That was shocking too. And then missing her terribly. So now that the shocking nature of, oh my God, the vulnerable nature of humans in this realm, oh my God, the shocking news that I've got to reconstruct my reality, or I'm not gonna move forward. I'm gonna be stuck in this nowhere land. It's gonna happen. Because if you don't act, you will get stuck in the nowhere land. That's okay for a little bit of space, but you don't want to be there for too long. You literally got to claw your way out. You will have to claw your way out. You have to do things that go against some of the emotion moment. You do it for a little bit because you don't want to force it either. And you will get out of the nowhere space. As soon as you become comfortable with the fact that I've got to reconstruct a brand new reality and this is up to me. Okay, now where are my strengths? My partner, my daughter, my family. You've got to look for your strengths, so that because you're not going to be able to build that on your own. And then you miss them. So the tears you saw before, like I'm remembering her. It's when I think about the future that I get sad. But when I think about her, and it's like I'm there again, so that brings me joy. But missing them is separate to the shocking nature of mortality, and the shocking nature of having to reconstruct a brand new reality. Missing them is always going to be painful when you think about how they're not here anymore. But you can see it's not as shocking. Like I used to go into full-blown attacks, Sophie, as I know you would be experiencing now. They come out of nowhere. I'm just feeling you right now because I'm far from you. But just allow them to happen and they're temporary, and then make sure you reach for a hug. Make sure you have a hot shower. Make sure you are just good to yourself. So that's what happened. Well, at least that's what happened to me. I'm here for you during this process in any way that I can be. But the coolest thing I think about people we love leaving us is that they perfume the suffering with wisdom, with knowledge, and with understanding. And I think that's so beautiful. But we have to be willing to listen. We have to be willing to hear the perfume. That makes sense. To let its aroma sit in your brain and remind you that we live in a dual realm and that this is the price that we pay for being here. Death. So obviously, as you know, I'm a researcher and I have a lot of work to do. I feel like I need to write a book about reconstructing the nature of death in the West. I think we need to rebuild our friendship with the idea of death so that it's not so fucking shocking and debilitating the way it is to us. Terrified to feel discomfort. That's shocking in itself. That's the other one. Just realizing how resistant my brain was to suffering. And for anybody that has the capacity to disassociate, which most humans in the West do, just disassociate everything, our jobs and our relationships and our health and our families and our society and our religion and our dark side. And this disassociation is freaking terrifying. Because people are pretending to be okay, and they're even lying to themselves because they think that they're just distracted from what's really going on. It's just a disassociation. It's not really honoring the human experience, and that it brings joy and suffering, loss and gain, success and failure. That's what this realm brings. Does that make sense to anybody? Feel free to comment opinions, experiences. Sophie, my energy's increased. Clarity of mind. My capacity to feel pleasure in small things. my level of acceptance, my level of compassion. I'm still struggling with my level of intimacy. I could tell I'm still way too guarded there. I'm going to work on that this year. I think I'm still shocked that I could lose something so meaningful. That's because I had spent 34 years believing in my own reality and that it was steady and constant, and it's not. So I think as I'm getting more comfortable understanding the uncertain nature of reality, I hope to open my heart more to the people that love me. I feel like I'm terrified still of people's unawareness, if that makes sense. Like, we definitely need people like us around us. People that can observe the human experience and understand that it has limits, that we are limited. We fuck up really bad. Am I allowed to swear on this thing? You do. Okay. Pretend like I didn't say that. So, Sophie, you were asking me about work. And so I'm back doing what I love, which is working with the community. For those of you that don't know me, I am about to register in a month officially. I had to place my career on hold for many years due to my own grief process, and this is the year I re-enter it full ball. And Sophie, I am literally all of this while at work, and learning so much, mostly about my own limits, and I guess you know, I'm a bit of a weirdo when it comes to self-development. I'm obsessed with it, and learning. I think a process like this, Sophie, can really teach you about the limits of your own nature, and it's very important to understand those, because you're going to have to be very, very gentle with yourself, very, very gentle, and hopefully that gentleness will then extend into the rest of your human experience here, because the body can't handle stress for too long. We get sick psychologically and physiologically. So I hope that you are gentle with yourself. I hope this answered your question. Life becomes larger, I think. The small things become so much bigger. For some reason, the planet seems really small now. I don't know why. Probably because we've done so much traveling, I don't know. But I feel like this is my home for now. And having to watch you suffer these last few weeks has broken my heart. Mostly because, obviously, everything that it triggers inside of me. But also, I had this idea, because so I've got some other friends that are also going through their own dark valley moment. And then all of a sudden I began to feel guilty because it wasn't me there. And then I realized, okay, we share the suffering, we share the load. If the cost of living in this realm is that suffering and happiness must coexist, because you can't know happiness without suffering. Like it's impossible. And then I thought, do we share the load? I saw, the yin yang ball, and then I saw there's this thing that is like orbiting, and then we've got, a dose of suffering and a dose of happiness, and the god or the goddess, or who knows who made this thing. So okay, I'm gonna just throw this much suffering and this much happiness so that this realm can exist. But I feel like Because it was too much of it or not enough of it, could possibly screw up the way this reality functions. And then I had this vision where this dose of happiness and this dose of suffering, and that it sort of flows around the earth like clouds almost, and that each human must carry their load during a time, and I think that, and then I saw how suffering knocked on your door and on the door of a few others, and I'm constantly seeing it now, and I've got to work really, really hard to honor the sacred nature of your suffering and not feel like I have to save you or anybody that is suffering, because obviously it feels really uncomfortable to watch somebody you love suffer. But honoring the sacred nature of suffering, and I have just committed my life now to writing about it, talking about it, and showing people that suffering is sacred and it's beautiful, because with it brings so much understanding, wisdom, it brings knowledge, it brings vulnerability, it brings humbling, it brings awareness, compassion. It definitely kicks into change. Like we are always reformed by suffering. So I'm committed. I'm committing my professional development, as much as I hate that word, because I'm a holistic practitioner. I've been talking about that I think in one of the previous videos, about functioning in a professional role that doesn't deviate too much from who you are as a real person, from what you eat in the morning and who you relate to and the things you talk about, in a way, and understanding that what you do at work will impact the way you relate to your world and to others, and the way you relate to your body. So holistic practice is about understanding actually that everything is connected, and that who you are at work can't be too different from who you are at home. And if there's too much of a difference, you're going to suffer. So it's about having a holistic practice. So that makes sense for me, because what I ponder in my quiet times is exactly what I ponder in my professional development. So when I'm researching, or when I'm writing, or when I'm developing programs, when I'm doing, like when I'm doing therapy, when I'm involved in with clients, when I work in a team, when I work in an organization, it's a constant compassion, it's the awareness of suffering, and then it brings the good things. So a big part of what I do now, Sophie, in my role, is stretching the limit of the human brain. So teaching people first that the brain hates to suffer, and it just wants to do the same old thing all the time. It hates to feel uncomfortable, so it does everything possible. It will try to disassociate. It will try to self-medicate. It will try to, to separate itself from the current experience. And then we have to come with the prefrontal brain, the developed brain, the emotional thinking brain, and teach it to cover the primitive part of the brain that just wants to avoid suffering at all costs. And we do that with meditation, obviously, and that's what I'm doing, Sophie. I'm committed to helping humans create a brain that isn't afraid of suffering as much, because it's going to feel uncomfortable when you're creating a brand new reality, a brand new job, a brand new relationship, a brand new life, a brand new country, a brand new age. A friend of mine just turned 40. Understanding that it's going to feel uncomfortable, but just because I'm uncomfortable, or I'm in pain, or I am suffering, that I am not the totality of that suffering or that dark moment. And you walk through it with the awareness that you can actually grow from it too, no matter the loss. Okay, I hope that makes sense. What do you think of these videos? So I really recommend you jump on. I've encouraged a few of the other INFJs that are always hiding behind computers, behind walls, because we're scared of the world. A message to the INFJs: we're not scared of the world. We're actually scared of ourselves and what we project onto the world. Just something to think about there. When I realize I am in everybody, and I often feel terrified of people's unawareness, and the way they deceive themselves or the way they try and deceive others. And then I come back and I'm like, where am I deceiving myself? I come back, when somebody pessimistic or narrow-minded or what's the other one? Irresponsible comes into my life and really triggers me. And then I'm like, okay, where am I being irresponsible? Where am I being narrow-minded? But it is exhausting for the INFJ to do that process because we're always processing. And SE, guys, SE. We have got to get into our SE. And it's there. It's there. You go to the mountain and you will forget your brain. You jump into the ocean, do a meditation, have a hot cup of tea. It's cold now. Now our SE for the INFJs is it's not very developed, but it's there. So it's this capacity to really be in the moment. So I began to experience that when I began my mindfulness training. I was living on an island. I self-trained because I was alone there. There was no access to the program here in my city. And I thought it was enlightenment. It felt like enlightenment. Our capacity to be in the moment, by allowing the waves or canoeing, or cooking lentils, and captivate the totality of your attention. And it's difficult. It's a training, but our capacity for SE really can help us tap into that. So Sophie, work on doing things that are nourishing for you for now, and understand that your brain is not going to like this one bit. Okay, but you're going to come in with your prefrontal, with the developed brain. And then for those of us that believe in the afterlife, with your spirit, you're going to come in and you're going to bathe the suffering, because it is not the totality of who you are. Remember that. Never forget that. And this suffering is temporary, at least the depth of it is temporary. But you must you must attend to it with love and with compassion. Please, 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 please do not find yourself judging yourself or anybody else for feeling angry or frustrated, or feeling lost, or feeling like you're never gonna get through this. Those are exactly the moments when you have to extend compassion. I love you. I hope to see you soon. I hope this will 40 minutes. No way. I'm just looking at the time. And this is why I struggle to talk about myself with people, because tell me if you identify INFJs, because I'm like 40 minutes. That felt like 2 minutes. Well, no, 10. So firstly feeling fear that we bore people, that we're going to bore people, that we do bore people. So this is probably why the digital record guys are really good for INFJs, because whoever wants to spend 40 minutes can, and it's always nice to get a message. I've got a few of your responses, guys, and really in depth, and you've listened to the blah blah, and have given me some really good feedback, some really good information. And more than anything, it felt validated and heard, and that it didn't bore you, because you're INFJ like me and boring. We're boring. I'm okay with being boring. I'm actually very charismatic on the outside, but it's a show. It tires me out. So if anybody has made it this long, thank you. And please share yourself in the comments. And I encourage anybody that struggles to truly communicate with the world to jump on YouTube. This is a great form of expression. And I think more and more of us are doing it, especially for research minds like the INFJ that want to like to study I feel like it's a good record because you can come back and watch your progress, your development, where you've come from. It's nice. It's good. And also practicing this discussion because I'm usually doing this on my own in my head. And this feels less weird. I don't know. Or is it more weird? I don't know. But I've seen myself. I've had Sophie in my mind. I've got a few of you sitting there in my mind as well. I have no idea what you look like. But I don't know. I think it's a good platform. As long as it doesn't get too big or anything, it keeps it small. The Infj community should work at developing like an online platform for idealists, an idea. Because I know that YouTube also has a little bit of, there's a dark side to YouTube. There's a lot of negative, freedom of expression, I guess. But I've seen, what do you call them, haters and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm going to keep using it for now. It's good for me. And it just feels like I'm like challenging my level of comfort by coming on here by my makeup and just in my pajamas and talking about what's meaningful to me. Because if we don't do this, guys, we get sick. I know that. So rather than boring somebody I know with 40 minutes, mostly because they try and butt in as well, don't they? As we butt in. Anyway, all right, I'm going to go. Have a wonderful day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Sophie, if you're still here, I love you. I'm here for you. I hope this made sense. And if you didn't watch the whole thing at the same time, don't feel bad. All right. Bye, guys.